Is Africa finally breaking its chains, or falling into new ones? Is Ibrahim Traoré the dawn of a new era, or just another puppet behind revolutionary smoke? This is the story of a man who rose not through politics, but through defiance. A soldier turned leader. A leader turned symbol. But symbols can be rewritten, controlled, even destroyed. This is Ibrahim Traoré, the new face of Africa, or another puppet. Burkina Faso, once known as Upper Volta, is no stranger to revolution. The ghost of Thomas Sankara still haunts its soil. But this new fire, ignited in 2022, burned differently. It wasn't just about corruption. It wasn't just about incompetence. It was about survival. Terrorism had swallowed the north. Villages turned to ashes. Civilians massacred. The people cried out, but the government stayed silent. Until a captain in the army, not a general, not a politician, stood up. Ibrahim Traoré. In October 2022, he led a coup that shook not only Burkina Faso, but the entire Sahel. The message was clear. If you won't protect us, we will protect ourselves. Unlike leaders before him, Traoré didn't hide behind palaces or parliaments. He marched with the troops. He spoke with the displaced. He looked the people in the eyes and said, "We are taking our country back." His leadership wasn't built in press rooms. It was forged in battlefields. Within months, he launched a total overhaul of Burkina Faso's security approach. Volunteers for the Defense of the Homeland, VDP, were expanded. Local communities were armed and trained. A total war strategy was declared against insurgents. Under his command, territories once overrun by jihadists began to breathe again. Roads reopened. Markets resumed. Children returned to school. Was it perfect? No. Was it progress? Undeniably. But peace doesn't come without enemies. And not all of them wear turbans or carry rifles. As Traoré reclaimed land, another war brewed, one of influence, economy, and power. The West, especially France, was watching, uncomfortably. For decades, France held strong political and economic ties with its former colonies. Military bases, resource contracts, and aid packages gave them a long arm in West African politics. But Traoré wasn't playing that game. He cut military ties with France. He demanded the withdrawal of French troops. He kicked out French media agencies and questioned Western NGOs. To many Africans, it was revolutionary. To Western powers, it was rebellion. Suddenly, reports of authoritarianism began surfacing in international headlines. Press freedom is endangered, they said. Democratic backsliding, they warned. But on the streets of Ouagadougou, people weren't reading the New York Times. They were chanting, "Down with imperialism." Traoré wasn't alone. Soon, Mali and Niger, also led by anti-Western military juntas, joined him. Together, they formed the Alliance of Sahel States, AES. A political and military coalition with one purpose: defend Africa, by Africans, for Africans. No more ECOWAS sanctions. No more UN lectures. No more Western control. In January 2024, the trio officially pulled out of ECOWAS, a bold rejection of the West-backed regional bloc. This wasn't just geopolitical strategy. It was symbolic. For the first time in decades, African nations were writing their own script, without French ink. But independence has a cost. Burkina Faso's defiance made it a target, not just for terrorists, but for the economic elite. Sanctions began biting. International aid was withheld. Trade agreements were frozen. The country's fragile economy, already bleeding from war, struggled to stand. Foreign interests weren't happy about Traoré's push to nationalize Burkina Faso's gold industry. Western companies with deep stakes in Burkinabe resources began losing their grip. Security threats became the excuse. Instability became the headline. But Traoré pushed forward, declaring that the gold under Burkinabe soil should feed Burkinabe mouths. The question was no longer if he could lead. It was how long the world would let him. For the youth of Africa, Traoré became more than a president. He became a symbol. A symbol that said you don't need the West to be strong. A symbol that said Africa doesn't have to beg, it can lead. A symbol that said freedom isn't given, it's taken. His speeches echoed the legacy of Sankara. His actions mirrored that of revolutionary leaders across the continent. And his rhetoric, Pan-African, anti-imperialist, unapologetic, resonated far beyond Burkina Faso's borders. From Lagos to Dakar, from Bamako to Kinshasa, one question kept coming. Could this man be the one? Of course, not all are convinced. Some accuse Traoré of trading one master for another. His growing ties with Russia have drawn scrutiny. Weapons deals, training partnerships, and whispers of Wagner mercenaries raise new questions. Has Burkina Faso escaped French influence only to fall under Moscow's shadow? Is the new anti-imperialism just old Cold War chess with different pieces? Traoré claims sovereignty. His critics claim substitution. The truth. It depends on who you ask, and which interests you protect. Despite the storms, Burkina Faso is changing. Insecurity, while still deadly, is slowly receding. Infrastructure projects are emerging. National pride is rising. For the first time in decades, the people feel heard. And in Traoré, many see a reflection of themselves. Flawed, but fighting. His revolution is still unfolding. His impact, still being written. So, is Ibrahim Traoré the new face of Africa? A symbol of hope? A defiant patriot? Or simply another puppet in a grander game? We may not know the full truth today. But one thing is certain. Africa is waking up. And in the streets of Ouagadougou, the people are no longer whispering, they are roaring.